Yes, and welcome to Graveyard Series 5, the King of Croix Trophy Group 4. Here you have the four present champions. Slayer Freak is the defending Skeleton King, Contagious in pink, the season champion, GT in green, the endurance champion, Lisa Norm at the back in white, the sprint champion, present as well. And that's the rest of the field, the rest of the names. So this will be 5 sprints with mandatory pit stops and mandatory tyre changes around the 5 different variations of the St. Croix circuit. What will happen? The pit stops will shake things up like a joker. Like there you have Contagious, GT, and Lisa Norm. And we're about to get things underway. Race 1 had qualifying. GT and LMN's, we're going to call him Mick, is away, and Contagious gets a good line on GT as well. They go 3 or 4 wide into turn 1. The 90-degree right-hander for the first time of 3 in this sprint race. Contagious and Con come around. GT's got the inside line over Gnarly and Slayer. As DanZambe and Jonesy, they all come down from the back. 14 cars coming around St. Croix for the first time in GT4 cars. Now they have to drive a different car every race. That's 5 different cars across the races. Strategy will come in through car selection as Slayer gets a nice run up the inside of DanZambe there. Contagious leading around GT and Con. Mick already out in front with a nice gap. Slayer and DanZambe battling around. DanZambe in the Aston Martin. GT, the endurance champion, closing the gap on Contagious. As Slayer and DanZambe still battle as they come around the first technical section of the track. Everybody runs wide. No, it's okay, just the cameraman. Never mind. Long, straight train of cars, all 14. Almost bumper to bumper as we run down now into the double left. It's Jonesy chasing DanZambe and Slayer. Gnarly behind in the red. Norm, Ravana, and Rick having a battle of their own further down the field. Kiwi, drama on the line, couldn't get off the grid. We might have a yellow flag as we come around. Hopefully they can get him away in time. As Mick, GT, and Contagious lead us around. Slayer in 4th, Jonesy in 5th, Con in 6th. DanZambe's made a mistake somewhere. He's back down in 8th now, looking for the inside run down the long straight on Gnarly. What a first lap. As Jonesy and Con almost go side by side, but Jonesy takes the spot as they come into the fast chicane, heavy braking zone. Side by side almost, Con and Slayer. DanZambe and Gnarly in shot just behind. Mick still in front from GT from Contagious. GT's made something happen over Contagious as Con takes the dive bomb around Slayer, but Slayer makes the switchback happen. DanZambe and Gnarly come around side by side as well. There you can see how big the gap is between Contagious and GT, the pink and green cars. And this is the back half, led by Harris, which consists of Rick, Reed, Mitch, and Ravana, battling it out with Norm at the back. Kiwi still on the grid. Mick and GT now battling through the very long set of right-handers before them. Slayer, Jonesy, and Con. Slayer makes a big mistake. Big, heavy contact with the wall, loses a lot of time. As we approach the end of the first lap of 3 of 5 races around the St. Croix Motor Park, if you will. 5 different variations. 2 opportunities to pit. Everybody has to pit on either the end of lap 1 or the end of lap 2 as GT makes his presence very well known behind Mick as they come around the final corner for the first time. Who's going to come in? GT makes the strategic decision to pit. Contagious comes in as well. Looks like that's Con coming in. Gnarly comes in. Slayer comes in. Jonesy has stayed out. Harris comes in. Mitch comes in. Ravana stays out. DanZambe comes in. Norm stays out. Kiwi still sat on the grid, twiddling his thumbs. Mick out in front now. Plenty of space and daylight in front of and behind him. Just has to worry about his own pace on the overcut. Jonesy in 2nd, still has to pit as well. So the front 2 are the two within a shout. Obviously, everybody else is going to come out battling, and here they are. Rick Reen, Contagious, GT, and Ravana. Rick Reen's the cork in the bottle. He's managed to get past everybody somewhere between the final corner and here. With Contagious, GT, and Ravana behind. Two very fast drivers behind Rick now as Contagious looks up the inside. Forces Rick to take the outside line. Contagious gets it done and now has the inside run into the next corner. Rick has to run it a bit wider. GT in the spectator seat watching it all happen now has a peek around Contagious as well as they go 3 wide into the next left-hand turn. Contagious in front, comes around the out. Contact between Rick and Rick? Was it Rick? Jonesy. My apologies, that was Jonesy the whole time, wasn't it? No, that was Rick. It was Rick. Rick has redressed. Contagious comes back through. Good behavior there from the drivers as Contagious runs wide and Rick gets the run up the inside after the redressal. Contagious won't be too happy about that now as they race down now into the very long straight. He'll get the move done here now anyway, hopefully, you would assume, with the slipstream before this fast chicane. Near the end of the straight, Contagious behind Rick Green, Ravana and Gnarly battling as well as they approach the chicane. Heavy braking zone. Gnarly looks up the inside to make the move done. Forces Ravana to go wider. Contagious and Rick Green both making a mistake, ghosting out and dropping down the field. Shutting the door on Slayer's movement. Con's in front. He's going to slow Rick and Contagious down. The Great Wall of Con. Gnarly makes a mistake, just manages to rejoin and hold onto it and maintain pace. Ravana's in 4th now, Con in 5th, Rick in 6th, Contagious in 7th. As Contagious runs wide on the entry to the bridge, a long straight, that's going to be a lot of time lost as well through a very fast sector. As Gnarly and Rick now are side by side as we come over the bridge, Ravana and Con. Gnarly's made a mistake, that's bunched up all 4 drivers here. Gnarly, Slayer, Norm and Contagious. Norm makes a mistake. Contagious comes through now behind Slayer. Contagious back up into 8th. With Mick, Jonesy and GT the front 3. Norm, the Season 1 champion, in 9th. With Gnarly, Harris and Zambe battling. Mick comes in for his pit stop. Jonesy has to follow suit. He comes in as well. So GT's already pit, so he's going to come around and hope to get the drive down to turn 1 for the first position and the 10 points leading into the final lap of race 1. Mick comes out. GT has the run to get around and shut the door in front of him. Now GT and Mick, 1 lap to battle it out. Mick's going to have the slip all the way around. Who's going to come out on top? Tracks that are not very well known by most of the drivers here tonight. All being forced to drive 5 different cars, so there will be cars in there. GT runs wide. And Mick gets the drive up the inside. Has the outside line now coming into this double right-hander. Whoa, almost contact. And GT takes the spot as he shuts the door. He's going to have the inside run into this corner and the next. Is this a foreshadowing of things to come for the next 4 races around St. Croix? For the King of Croix title. And title of Skeleton King for the week for winning the Graveyard event. Everybody's had their pit stop now on the 3rd lap. We're still watching Mick and GT battle it out around the first 2 sectors of the final lap at Circuit de St. Croix A. Mick with the drive now into the long straight. Who's going to have track position as they come into the chicane? They're side by side. 2 newcomers this week to the series, stamping their authority over the grid well out in front with Jonesy in 2nd. The question is who's going to take the big 10 points. as they approach the final 2 sectors. GT with the pace. Mick just falling away a little bit now as we approach the bridge. It's GT from Mick from Jonesy with a big gap to Con, with another big gap to Slayer and Contagious. They'll be battling for the last 2 sectors as they enter the bridge section. From Mitch in 7th, Gnarly Dude in 8th, Harris Clan in 9th with a slow entry to the bridge. Zambe in 10th, Norm, the sprint champion, in 11th, as we flick now forward into the long set of right-handers. GT still in the lead from Mick. From Jonesy, nice and settled. Lots of space and daylight between the front 5. Contagious has managed to get around Slayer somewhere, as we see Contagious coming around now. Big gap there. Slayer must have made a mistake. Mitch in 7th, Gnarly in 8th, Harris in 9th, Zambe in 10th. Zambe looking for the inside run around the long set of right-handers. Harris shuts the door, trying to salvage one more point. But GT takes the checkered flag for race 1 for the King of Croix. And the big 10 points, followed by Mick with 8 points. Jonesy across the line in 3rd, takes 7. Con, the Great Wall of Con, comes over in 4th, taking 6 points. Contagious in 5th, taking the 5. Slayer in 6th with 4. Mitch rolling over the line, followed by Gnarly Dude, Harris Clan. DanZambe in the slip there, couldn't get it done in the final sectors. Lisa Norm, Ravana, and Rick Reen. So we'll flick over to the results and the points. But that's race 1 of the King of Croix series from Graveyard Sprint Series 5. We run these races at midnight on Fridays. So there you have it. GT from Mick, from Jonesy, from Con, from Contagious, from Slayer, from Mitch, from Gnarly, from Harris, from Zambe, from Norm, from Ravana, from Rick, from Kiwi. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you for race 2 very soon.